Ozzy is a subadult loggerhead sea turtle who arrived here at Clearwater Marine Aquarium back in November of 2013. She came in on November 23rd, so towards the end of November. Here we are almost 2 years later, and she gets to go home today. Part of her journey as she came in was found by an FWC officer. Floating at the surface, she was wrapped in both monofilament as well as crab trap line. We did find out it was an abandoned crab trap. That trap was wrapped around both of her flippers as well as her neck, and it caused a really severe, over 12-centimeter deep laceration to the front right flipper. At the same time, she had a spiral fracture to that front flipper as well, which was determined through an x-ray. She went through initial wound care, where we were able to just examine and kind of keep the wound nice and clean. We also started using thermography. We used a thermocam in order to assess how viable the flipper was. Was the tissue in the flipper viable for survival, or was the flipper going to need to be amputated?
We started out here, they looked about the same, the flippers looked about the same. This was 2 minutes after, and then 19, you can see a huge differentiation in the coloration here.
With that thermocam, we were able to see that the tissues were viable in the flipper. So that was a really positive sign. During that time, we also started doing what's called platelet-rich plasma treatments. So we would actually take a blood sample from Ozzy, we would use her individual platelets and actually inject them into the wound site. There was a portion of her flipper that didn't want to close up because of a very deep hole that was in that flipper. So the platelets there were able to promote bone adhesion in her front flipper. We then were continuing to assess Ozzy during that time. We were looking at her swimming ability and the ability of how much she was actually using and moving that flipper. She was then approved by our vets to be moved into some deeper water. So we got her out of her rehab pool, moved her up so she would have full range of motion as well as diving ability. We wanted to see how much she could actually exercise, as well as how much she could sustain in being in that deep water. Is she going to be a suitable candidate for release? Is she able to handle that? With having one flipper that doesn't have full bone adhesion to it, but does have movement. She did really well. Very fortunate to work with the Sea Turtle Conservancy to purchase this satellite tag and be able to track Ozzy as we release her today.
My name is Dan Evans, and I'm the Technology and Research Specialist for the Sea Turtle Conservancy based out of Gainesville, Florida. And I'm here today at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium to attach a satellite transmitter onto Ozzy. And the purpose of this is primarily to be able to follow her movements after she is released. So a big part of attaching a satellite transmitter is the preparation of the shell. It has to be scrubbed really well, it has to be totally clean, and it also has to be roughed up a little to give the epoxy a surface to attach to. So we sand it, we score it, just to have a nice attachment site for the turtle. If you don't have a really clean shell, then you're just attaching the epoxy to dirt and grime, and the transmitter will come off a lot faster. And then there's a two-part epoxy that is used. That's a really low heat epoxy, so it doesn't harm the turtle in any way. The antenna is here, and so that will come out of the water. When she's swimming, it gets bent over like that, and as soon as she surfaces, it pops forward. These are the extra towers that were installed to try to protect the base of the antenna. The silver disc here is on the top, and then there's two on the sides, is the saltwater switch. So when this comes out of the water and is dry, that's when the transmitter knows that it's out of the water and starts sending signals. We anticipate that the transmitter will stay on her for up to 2 years.
So not only does Ozzy have a satellite tag, which is really cool, but she also has what we could consider the jewelry that we put on all of our turtles. She's got her flipper tags as well as her pit tags. Her flipper tags are the silver external tags that you see. She also has a pit tag, which you cannot see externally. It's basically like a microchip that your dog or cat may have at home. We can pick that up if she ever strands again using a pit tag scanner.
A big part of the satellite tracking is not only for us and the rehabbers here at Clearwater Marine Aquarium to be able to track Ozzy, but is also for everybody, the general public, to be able to track Ozzy as she moves to wherever she ends up going. So there are two websites that will provide a map of Ozzy's travel. One is the Clearwater Marine Aquarium website, and the other one is the Sea Turtle Conservancy website.
So we couldn't be more excited. This is the first turtle in Clearwater Marine Aquarium's history that has been satellite tagged. So we will get to be able to see where she goes on her journeys back out into the wild. We are excited to share the story of Ozzy, our first ever satellite tagged sea turtle, who was first rehabilitated and then released on September 9th. It is very important to monitor the success of her rehabilitation, not only for Ozzy's case, but for all other sea turtles that come into our care. We need your help. The cost of the satellite tag is approximately $10,000. Your donation will not only help Ozzy, it will also allow CMA to open up the opportunity for other rehabilitated and released sea turtles. Be a part of it. Help CMA continue its mission and donate.
So Ozzy's a great story. Of all the things we're honored to do here at CMA, when we can release an animal back in the wild, that's what we're all about. It's been a great day. The beauty is, even though you guys are at home, wherever you're at, you can participate in this by going online to seawinter.com, and you can track Ozzy, as you heard before, by satellite tag. We've never done this before, first time ever.